Fixer family, it's Charmin. Welcome to Fixin' Two. On today's video, I'm going to be bringing you 2 more winter decor projects while continuing to shop my stash. I am so excited about these snowflake inspired projects, and I know that you will be too, and they are super easy and simple to do with leftover things that I've had from projects past. So let's go ahead, jump in and get started. So what we're going to be using for this project is these leftover plastic snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. I used these in a wreath I made at Christmas 2019, and I'll definitely link that up above for you, as well as some embroidery thread and of course my hot glue gun. Now I took my embroidery thread to the place that I'm wanting to hang this to measure it out. I don't have actual number measurements on this, so I measured it enough to leave about 1.5 to 2 inches on either end. And basically what I'm going to begin to do with the start of this is kind of lay this out how I want it to be. I love to dry fit when I do anything like this before I actually make it something permanent. So I laid it out how I wanted things to overlap and what size here and there. These are probably the large and the medium size snowflakes. And so I'm just going to take them off of the embroidery thread, and then I'm going to take, and there is little holes in it in the actual snowflake itself, and I'm going to thread it through, going to where it'll lay across the back of the snowflake and bringing out those extra like 2 inches on the end for one end, and then taking on the other end and begin to thread on my snowflakes. Now I found out that this was a little difficult, not terribly bad, but then I decided I was going to go ahead and place a piece of tape on the other end to make it a little bit more sturdy for me to be able to thread it through the snowflakes. And I just put on the pattern that I wanted, and these things can kind of be a little tedious just because they're so thin and they get wrapped around that embroidery thread really easily. So once we get all of them on there, then I'm going to take and flip it over and make sure that it's nice and spread out like I want it. And then I'm just going to take my hot glue gun and put a little dab right where the embroidery thread touches it. Now be super careful if you have a high temperature hot glue gun, because these are so thin, it will kind of melt it. So you have to be careful just to use a little dab. And I wanted you to kind of see it with the my mat in the background, just to kind of see how it laid out. But guys, I love this. I think that this is beautiful. Now for the next project here, I'm going to be using several different spray paints that I already have on hand, and I'm using some scrap pieces of wood from past projects. And guys, I didn't even sand it at all because I really want that rustic look. And I'm going to be using some of my snowflakes as templates. So the first thing I'm doing is I am going to take my Rust-Oleum white spray paint, and I'm going to coat all 3 of these pieces with the white, because this is going to be our background. And I just kind of do several light coats until I get the coverage that I want. And I do want the white to cover, pretty well. And once I get all the top and all the sides done, then I'm going to throw in my little hair dryer here to help to dry it super quick. But I did not paint the back, and that's just a preference. So once you get that completely dry, then you're going to take and you're going to place one of your snowflakes into the center, And then with this particular one, of course, I'm using my Rust-Oleum chalk paint I have on hand, and I'm just going to do light coats over this, and I don't even worry about complete coverage because I am going to take them and distress them once they're completely dry. And it's real important that you do wait until they're completely dry. I did wait overnight for this particular project. But once you do get the coverage that you do want, you just lightly pull that snowflake off, or easily I should say, and this is what you get. And I just love the way they turned out. They are great accent pieces. So now that they're completely dry, I just grabbed some of the sandpaper I have for my little sander that I have, and I grabbed 150 grit and 240 grit. I think I did use the 150 here. And the neat thing that because you're doing light coats of this colored spray paint on the top of it, you barely have to put any pressure on the wood here, because just light pressure with the sandpaper brings it out and makes it super easy to distress. And so I go around all three of these doing the same thing, getting it to the look that I want. And as I always tell you, make it your own. If you don't want to distress it at all, you don't have to. That's just my preference, and I love the way that this distressing turned out, and they're great added pieces to my decor. You guys are enjoying these winter decor pieces, and of course you're still shopping your stash, because that is exactly what I've been doing. And I tell you, sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge, but I know that I have tons of stuff in storage in my little compartments and all that kind of stuff that I really need to use. And by shopping your stash, you're doing a couple of things. One, you're using up what you have, and two, you're definitely saving money. And if you're like me, after the holidays, saving money is always a good thing. So I hope that this has inspired you guys to do the same. Now I have a question for you. How many of you have an item that you want to use for a craft project and you can't seem to put your hands on it? I have to tell you, when I was making the garland, I know I had some white embroidery thread, and I could not find it anywhere. Couldn't find it anywhere. And it finally did, but it took me forever. And I do that on a lot of things. And so I'm excited about some things that I have coming up to help me with organization and all of that in my craft space, and a few other things going on. So let me know down in the comments section, do you have that problem like me? Because I'm just being real here. I tend to misplace stuff a lot in there when I know I have it. So, well guys, I am so glad that you joined me today. And if this is the first time you're joining me and the first time that we are meeting, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Consider becoming a part of the Fixer family by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it so that you're notified each time we upload new videos. Now guys, if no one has told you today, you are amazing, and I'm so glad that you're a part of the Fixer family. And always remember to keep looking up, because that's where it all is. I'll see you on the next video.